Darth Vader's slow descent into the clutches of the dark side over several decades fueled him with an immense rage and unbridled hatred. This hatred that drove many of his most heinous actions over that 20 years, as he ventured across the galaxy, butchering former Jedi Knights and exerting his dominance over the entire galaxy. Every time he killed a Jedi, he proved that Anakin Skywalker was dead, and there was less and less of him. But this is what makes Luke's redemption of Vader so important in Return of the Jedi. And this is why it's so important to the overall story of Star Wars and its lore. The fact that every other person in the galaxy gave up on Anakin except for Luke. Between his defeat on Mustafar and his eventual death aboard the Death Star 2, Vader sank into a pattern of hatred and bloodlust, only finally being redeemed by his son Luke in his final moments. The path to this redemption before Luke, though, was all but a futile endeavor for years, as nobody seemed to be able to bring Anakin back into the light side whatsoever. Both Obi-Wan and Ahsoka encountered Vader after his fall to the dark side and his cybernetic enhancements, but neither of them were able to break through and make any progress towards redeeming Anakin whatsoever. But why exactly was this? Why was Luke Skywalker the only person that could have ever redeemed Darth Vader? And why was it hopeless for Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, his master and his apprentice? And why is it that they could never redeem the Dark Lord? Why was Luke the only person who stood a chance at defeating Vader by bringing Anakin back? And why couldn't the likes of Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, or anyone else from his past life do the same for Anakin? Today, students of the Force will explore one of my favorite aspects of the Star Wars lore and the psyche of Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker, as well as break down Dave Filoni's own interpretation of the Star Wars saga and Lord Vader, and what fueled his own viewpoint and approach towards crafting the next generation of Star Wars stories. First though, according to our analytics, a lot of you guys that watch the channel haven't actually subscribed yet. So if you would like to see more Star Wars lore, force crush that subscribe button. As Anakin fell into the clutches of the dark side, he became disillusioned with the Jedi Order that he had promised to serve and obey. And throughout his career as a Sith, he slowly came to systematically uncover the inherent flaws with the Republic as he knew it. In Anakin's mind, the problem with the Jedi Order were so deeply rooted in the Order itself that each individual Jedi was corrupted just by being affiliated with it, despite their own individuality and unique nature. And because of this, they needed to die. The Jedi Order was the victim of 100 years of slow corruption that had taken its toll over the course of time, and it became responsible for deeply wronging Anakin on numerous occasions, at least in his point of view, including withholding the ability to save his wife from imminent death. The Jedi Council had the ability to effect change on a much wider level than they ever acted upon, including saving the love of Anakin's life and his unborn child from impending fate that he knew was coming abruptly. Instead of helping Anakin in his moment of need, however, they told him that he was forbidden to have attachments, leading him to marry Padme in secrecy without the knowledge of the greater Jedi Council. The Jedi emotionally and mentally stifled Anakin for years, and never gave him a proper method for venting his anger and other emotional problems that he encountered. Instead, he was simply taught to sit by and ignore his feelings outright. As much as he loved Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, they too represented members of this very same Jedi Order, and they were corrupted by the same organization who had cost Padme her life. Obi-Wan even held a seat on the very same council that denied Anakin the rank of Master, a rank which Anakin could have used, including his Force abilities, to save Padme. As with the rank came information and access to the Jedi archives that only the council members were able to look upon. Anakin was never concerned with a seat on the council or acknowledgement by his peers, but he was focused on this closely guarded information only available to Jedi Council members and masters, including Force abilities that may have saved his wife. This meant that Anakin's growth into Darth Vader continued. He sought to destroy any remaining hint of his previous order, including Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, as they too represented the failures of Anakin Skywalker and were constant reminders of his past as a Jedi, a past which he fought to kill by whatever means necessary. The only person that Darth Vader hated more than Obi-Wan was Anakin, and it is because of this that Vader sought to destroy any attachments that Anakin had made throughout his life, including that of Ahsoka and Obi-Wan himself. They represented the past, Vader was the present and the future. Despite their history, he shared nothing more than resentment for them. They too were the Jedi that he despised, and they represented the previous order. Even though these individuals were the closest to Anakin as a Jedi, they were still Jedi, and they were still friends of Anakin, which is the most dangerous thing that you could have been. Luke, however, represented something much different to Vader than the Jedi he had fought to eradicate. And Luke was not the same as the Jedi of the old era. He had never done anything wrong to Darth Vader or Anakin. Luke represented the next generation, which was untouched by the flaws of the old way, and he had the opportunity to reconstruct the Jedi Order as it was always meant to be, in a way where Anakin would have never fallen. Instead of being jaded and beaten down by centuries of political corruption from a dying system, Luke was simply an optimistic Jedi of a new generation who simply wanted to do the right thing. Luke had little to no affiliation with the Order of the Past that Vader had sought to destroy, as well as the fact that he did not share their same principles. He didn't care for politics, he didn't have the same dogmatic views of the old Jedi, and he never aligned himself with any of the beliefs that hurt Anakin Skywalker all those years ago. Instead, Luke was a brand new beginning, a chance to do better. Not to mention, Luke Skywalker cared for his friends the same as Anakin had, which is something that Vader instantly connected to, seeing the same flaws that the Jedi would have seen in Luke as they did as Anakin. Not to mention his optimism and devotion towards redeeming his father is one of the defining aspects of Luke Skywalker's character, and represents what the Jedi should have been. To put it simply, Luke Skywalker represented a future to Anakin and to Darth Vader, while unfortunately, all that Ahsoka Tano and Obi-Wan represented in the mind of Vader and the mind of Anakin was the past. A past that had hurt Anakin far too much, a past that he did not ever want to return to. The Jedi Order had turned their back on him completely, and he would never return to what they established. Luke, though, never did any of these things. He wasn't involved. He wasn't even born yet. And for 20 years, all Vader had done was serve Palpatine simply because he was the only alternative, and the only thing that he had left. Now though, for the first time in his life, he was presented with a third option, a son, a future. And it is this future that finally gave Anakin the push to embrace the light side yet again, and defeat Sidious once and for all. But that, my friends, is the explanation as given to us by Dave Filoni as to why the likes of Ahsoka and Obi-Wan could never turn Darth Vader back to the light side, but why Luke could have. But what are your thoughts on this? And what are your thoughts on Luke Skywalker ultimately redeeming Darth Vader, and why he was the only one that could have done so? As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching the channel. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.